Henry, host of the Geek Speak Show. This is the pilot episode of the Geek Speak Video Show. Only difference is you get to see us. I'll leave it up to you if that's a good or bad thing. So, live audience here. Here is Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff in Concord. 2980 Treat Boulevard, exactly. You guys can check them out. FlyingColorsComics.com on the web. Get social with them. They're on Twitter, Facebook. They even have a YouTube page. You can see everything on here. So, with me, you guys have heard him on the show before. Friend of the show, the owner of Flying Colors, Joe Field. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Henry. Welcome to Flying Colors.
Thank you. So let's go back in time. It's going to be a fun thing. You guys will see that in a little bit. But let's go back in time when there were no colors, no Flying Colors in Concord. What made you want to open up Flying Colors?
I was working for the guys who were putting on WonderCon. The first couple of years that WonderCon started, I was their advertising and promotion director, and it got me a chance to look around at comic book stores in the area, and I was kind of getting burnt out doing what I was doing in radio at the time, so I made a decision to try to get into the comics field somehow. And I interviewed as a marketing director at a couple of companies. I tried to do a sales rep thing at Marvel. That didn't work. When I started to take a look, I knew my goal was to come back and be able to live in the area where I grew up. I grew up just a few miles from here in Moraga, and so I saw the retail opportunity as the best way to get in. And so about 2 years after I started working for WonderCon, not only did I become part owner of that show, but we opened Flying Colors in October of '88.
But you were actually a comic reader before. It's not just, hey, let's just open up a comic book store, right?
No. My comics origin story goes back to 1967, third day of summer. I mean, we're actually at about the 45th anniversary of that today. And I was teaching a 4-year-old kid how to climb trees, and I was about 20 feet up a tree, and I fell out. And I broke my arm in 3 places. I was laid up in the hospital, and when I got home from the hospital, they told me to stay in bed for another few days. Doing that, the neighborhood kids brought me little gifts, and one brought me a beanbag frog, and when you've got a broken arm, it's kind of a little bit difficult to do that in your non-dominant arm, which was my left. So one of the guys, a good buddy of mine, Steve Holmes, brought me a couple of comic books. He brought me Amazing Spider-Man 51 and Fantastic Four number 65. And because I could no longer play baseball, Little League that summer, or swimming, or any of that kind of active stuff because of the broken arm, and I was in a cast until mid-September, I really dove into comics in a big way. And so that summer became my summer '67. Most people think it's the summer of love. No, for me it was the summer of comics.
The summer of the FF.
Yeah.
So between summer of the FF, the broken arm, and going through the radio experience, what made you say Concord needs a Flying Colors kind of a comic book shop, if you will?
I saw that the market was right for it. There wasn't a store here, although there were stores in Concord. There wasn't anything like what we were planning on doing, and essentially, my wife and my 3 daughters were my marketing team, and so we were trying to put together a store that would be family friendly for everyone, still give all the diehard comic fans what they want, but also make the store accessible to a much wider audience. And so they became my marketing team, and we just looked around at 30 or 40 stores in California. We took notes on what we liked and what we didn't like, and that became the template for what we're still trying to do here 24 years later.
Anecdote time. Let's go back to the very first day that the store was open. Can you tell us, good or bad, any memories that you have from that?
I can tell you who spent the first $1 here.
Who was that?
His name is Milton, and he bought a pack of baseball cards. That was the very first sale. We still have the first $1 over there from that first sale. We did $63 on our first day of business, and right about then I was doubting whether the plan was working, but we knew it was going to be a slow go to begin with, and we've just been very fortunate with all the people in the Contra Costa area who've supported us over the years that we've been able to stay in business this long.
The other cool stuff refers to T-shirts behind us and collectibles. Did you have that when you opened, or was it just?
Oh yeah, it's changed a lot. If you we'll show you some of the photos later, but when we first opened, we had a lot more plush toys, Disney and that sort of thing. We had a lot more gifty little items, but we found over the years that what people wanted more was the comics, and that the comics with the other cool stuff. The cool stuff is the frosting. The comics are the cake, and the way we see it is that it's other cool stuff because comics are cool first. So that's where that whole name came from.
What was the point where, whether it was few years after, where you said, I made the right choice opening this store?
We went through a very difficult first 5 years. Although the comics market was growing at the time, there were 12 stores that were in Contra Costa County at the time, and so people had a lot of different choices of where to go to get their comics. But it was also it was a little bit dicey financially. I mean, there were a lot of months where I just wouldn't take anything home, and we were still living off of my my retirement fund from radio, which we went through in those first 5 years completely. But from then on, things seemed to just really take off, and there was that comics boom from '92 to '94. And while some of that was speculator-driven, what it did is it brought in a lot of people to the store that hadn't been coming to the store. And because we didn't play the speculator game, it was always about buy what you like and read what you want to read. Don't, we really shy away from trying to sell investment collectibles. We really want to be the entertainment store that focuses on comics. And I think that really helped us out through those years, because a lot of other stores were playing the hot books game, and that was basically a situation where they were left holding the bag with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of unsold copies of books that nobody really wanted.
You do know comics, that's for sure. It's evident when we talk to you and when you've been on our show with us. One of the stories you guys have heard it on the show, but let's say it to all the YouTube audience, the new YouTube audience now, is tell us the story of how you got Stockton to be the birthplace of the Fantastic Four.
I was working in radio at K-Joy Radio, a small 5,000 watt radio station in the Central Valley, and it's Stockton, California. I noticed that in the Fantastic Four comics, they kept on referring to the place where the powers of the Fantastic Four first manifested, where the rocket landed, as being Central City, California. Well, there isn't a Central City, California, but if you look at the map, Stockton's about the most central city there is in California. So I got this wacky idea to do this for Marvel's 25th anniversary, is to have them rename Stockton as the official birthplace of the Fantastic Four, and sort of put it on the map with other cities, real cities that they were using in the comics: New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, whatever. We gathered hundreds of signatures at Al's comic book shop in Stockton. I stood in front of the city council and asked them to issue a proclamation wanting this thing to happen. And then the news wires picked it up. The Associated Press and United Press International did a couple of different stories and went worldwide on the thing. And suddenly I was being interviewed by all manner of media, and Marvel was thinking, well, they've got a publicity bonanza on their hands. So their plans were to nuke Central City, California, and blow it 30,000 years into the future. And all of a sudden, here's this radio sales guy in Stockton who comes up with this idea to rename the city. Well, they can't nuke Central City and blow it 30,000 years into the future any longer. So on the 25th anniversary of Marvel, they came out with the Fantastic Four 296, which is the 25th anniversary edition. And in there, it goes back to the beginning, and Stan Lee writes the story again of how they took off and where the rocket landed. Jim Shooter, who was the editor-in-chief at the time, had me take photos all around Stockton and send them. There wasn't email at that point, so I took 3 rolls of film of various Stockton landmarks and sent them off to New York. They were the worst pictures, and they didn't use any of them, but Stockton is all over the map in the Marvel Comics now. And it's even in Fantastic Four Season 1, the graphic novel that just came out recently, Stockton is still in there as the birthplace of the Fantastic Four.
So if you ever wondered why Stockton, now you know why. Something else you're known for is the founding of Free Comic Book Day. So talk about why you felt that we needed a Free Comic Book Day for the comic book industry.
Well, the story goes that I was writing columns for a trade magazine, and I was really under the gun on a deadline. And so, scrambling for an idea, I looked out the front window here, and I saw a long line out in front of the store. And I went out to see what the line was about, and it was for free scoop night at Baskin-Robbins next door. And I thought, comics are cooler than ice cream, come on. And you know, that if we could take that idea and spin it for the comics market, it could be a really positive thing. At the same time, there were a lot of good things going on in comics. Marvel had started the Ultimate line. There was some good creative stuff that was going on from DC and Image Comics and all across the board, really. So the idea was do something at a powerful time where a lot of people are getting back into comics, and then use it as an invitation to draw more people in. And so we had a series of meetings, and it was decided that the the first Free Comic Book Day should be the day after the debut of the first Spider-Man movie in 2002.
Yeah, and you're also known for the Comics Pro that you founded. So talk a little bit about that also.
Comics Pro, I'm honored to serve as the president of the really only bona fide comics retailer trade association in the business. And we have members all over the United States and Canada. And essentially what we are is we're the lobbying arm for comic book retailers, so that our voice is heard when industry decisions are being made. And we're also there to provide some special deals for our members. And we do a lot of things in terms of promoting the opening of new stores in the market. Every year we do a day-long bunch of programming at the San Diego Comic-Con, and it all ends with the panel that we've been doing for, I don't know, 10 or 12 years now, called So You Want to Be a Comics Retailer, which is always a full house, and a lot of people are interested in opening stores, and Comics Pro is a good source for them to learn the ropes a little bit, go to school. We have a mentoring program, and it's just a way to keep the market healthy, and retailers are an incredibly vital part of that.
We're going to open up the questions in just a little bit, but before we do that, one last one from me. Next year will be 25 years of Flying Colors. Before we get there, reflect a little on 25 years of Flying Colors.
Well, it's a little bit poignant for me right now because it took me a long time to be able to get the lease for this space, and we've been here all that time. And the reason it took a long time to get that lease was because the landlord was not keen about having a comic book store because he thought it would be a bad influence on the community. And it took a lot of convincing for him to break through. And really, honestly, the way that that convincing happened was that my late father-in-law was an executive at Lucky Stores Incorporated, and this Trader Joe's was a Lucky store at that time. And way before that, this Lucky store was the #1 sales per square foot Lucky supermarket in the entire chain. My father-in-law called up my landlord and said, "You want to give this guy a shot." So my landlord, David Zuckerman, took that advice and gave us the lease when he was really not all that keen about it. he will say, David Zuckerman will say that when he met Libby, my wife, he totally fell in love with her, and that's what sealed the deal. I think it was a combination of both. And what's poignant about that now is not only did my father-in-law pass away shortly after the store opened, but David Zuckerman, who's 99 years old and a pioneer in this area in terms of developing the Walnut Creek Concord area, is not doing well, and it's not looking good for him. So, you know, we're keeping him in our thoughts and prayers as we head into this 25th anniversary.
So there you go, just a little bit about Flying Colors and Joe. Going to open up to you guys, live audience here at Flying Colors. In the meantime, while we get set up for that, let's have Ariel, Rachel, my co-host, introduce you guys to the Flying Colors staff.
And we are here at Flying Colors Comics and Other Cool Stuff, and we are in the European section. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mike. I've been here for 12 years.
All right, Mike, why are we in the European section?
This is my favorite section because I'm kind of an art aficionado, and a lot of these books have some of the prettiest art you've ever seen. They don't get around in America very much because a lot of it's kind of a little risque, but it's just some really gorgeous draftsmanship.
And so is it the just the art style, or is it the topics that really draw you to this style of art?
Mostly the art, but they do tend to get into more subjects and stories that I actually like to read. A lot of fantasy, a lot of science fiction, a lot of just really crazy, bizarre subjects and stories that are just way over the top, like David Lynch kind of stuff. It's just really fun to read.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. It was really great chatting with you, and I think I'm going to have to check out some of the awesome art in these European comics. Thank you for recommending them. Hi, we're here in the all ages section of Flying Colors and Comics. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Susie.
Hi, Susie. Now, we are here because this is your favorite section of the store. Why is it your favorite section?
I love this section because all the stories are really cute and fun, and they're really enjoyable for everybody. And I like being able to give a book to a small child, you know.
Oh, but then I also really like the all ages stories. I like engaging in like that playfulness and the funness, and then I don't have to worry about serious because it's just silly and adorable and cute. Do you have a favorite out right now?
My favorite right now is probably one that came out earlier this week. It's called Cowboy.
I see it right there.
Yeah, it's about a young boy, and it's a Western told through a child's eyes.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
Yeah, it's super cute.
Oh, I love that. Now, also in this section, I noticed there's some fun little things like this adorable guy right here. Oh my God, he's like the cutest thing I have ever seen.
Right? Isn't he the cutest T-Rex you've ever seen?
Oh my goodness, he's a T-Rex. Oh, he's a squishy dinosaur full of... Oh, okay, yeah. We don't need to... we can take this with us, right? I'll be at the register in a little bit.
Hey guys, it's Rachel again, and I found another section, the X-Men. And I also found Andy. Hello.
Hi.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Andy Barton. I've been working here at Flying Colors Comics since February of 2005, except for I've taken a year off during that time for schooling. But now I'm back here as I'm trying to get my teaching credential and moving into the world of elementary education.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody was looking to jump into comics for the first time, X-Men, of course, liking that, what
love
would
X-Men. Yeah.
what would they wanted to look at for the first time?
Well, for the X-Men in particular, there's actually about 3 different major jumping on points that a new reader could choose. There's the furthest back, which is the Grant Morrison written New X-Men, which was a very awesome storyline, but it's also very involved, and it really, you need to read it a few times to get all the information.
Okay.
It's a great storyline, though. The most recommended jumping on point that we give people is actually the second point, which is Astonishing X-Men, written by Joss Whedon, who had his blockbuster Avengers movie come out this summer.
That's right.
It was drawn by John Cassidy, so it has beautiful art the whole way through and great writing, and it's a phenomenal story. The modern third jumping on point is actually Uncanny X-Men, Manifest Destiny, which is written by Matt Fraction and has a rotating cast of artists, primarily though Greg Land and Rachel and Terry Dodson doing the artwork. So it's got great art, good writing, and it features the X-Men when they're doing their move to the Marine Headlands, and where they start operating out of San Francisco Bay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What would you think would be the most influential artist from this section?
For myself, I really enjoyed a lot of the 90s artists and the early 2000 artists. So I liked John Romita Jr., I liked Joe Madureira, I even liked the Chris Pachalo and Humberto Ramos stuff that's done.
Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
Let's see what other cool stuff we can find. Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Geek Speak Show. I'm here at Flying Colors with Aaron. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been here at Flying Colors for 8 months now, so I'm kind of a new kid. I love comics, I love old comics, I love new comics, so this is a pretty perfect place to work.
It sounds like it. We're in the Nostalgia and Archive section, and why is this your favorite section of the store?
This is my favorite section because I like older style art and older style writing. I like to see where some of my favorite characters came from and their origins and all that.
What do you think are some of the most influential artists from this section?
Most influential artists would be Jack Kirby, Wally Wood, Gene Colan, Stan Lee, obviously, John Buscema, and Joe Kubert, in my opinion.
If somebody was new to this section of your store and wanting to jump in, where should they start?
I would say pick a character that you like to read now, and I could show you some of DC showcases or Marvel Essentials, which have a bunch of back issues from up to 40 or 50 years ago.
Well, thanks for talking with us, Sarah.
Thank you.
Let's go see what else we can find.
We're going to meet some more of the fabulous staff here at Flying Colors. What's your name?
My name is Marty.
Hi, Marty. Now, what section are we in?
We're in the Vertigo, Max, and Icon section of our store, where we have lots of really cool, more mature stories.
Excellent. And this is your favorite section?
This is indeed my favorite section. I really like it because you get a really wide swath of stories, everything from fantasy to crime to romance. It's really good. A lot of really great stuff over here.
So it doesn't really matter what genre you like. This is where you can find stories that are more intended for the 17 and older crowd, right?
Yeah, definitely, and it's really nice. And it's great to have sections for everyone, which we definitely do here. But this one's really nice because everything here is intended for an older audience who might be looking for a bit more of a deep read, I would say. It's great, though.
Excellent. And do you have currently a favorite thing that you can point out to us in this section?
I definitely do. My favorite comic of all time, pretty much, is Powers. And it's been coming out for several years now. It's a really good superhero crime story. So there are superheroes in it, but a lot of crime, and the main characters don't really have powers, but they specialized in a super powered homicide.
Oh, that's amazing. That sounds like a really great story, and it's one of the great writers, Brian Michael Bendis, one of my favorites, which is great. And tell me, how long have you been working here?
Well, this week would actually be my Flying Colors birthday, so I'll be here for 5 years.
5 years? Were you shopping here before you started working?
I definitely was, for several years. I've had many shops throughout the years, but this has been my main shop even before I worked here.
And what brought you here specifically? It sounds like you were visiting other shops. Now you're a regular and now an employee here. What brought you here?
Well, Flying Colors has always had a great selection. Well before I worked here, it was always the best shop around. And I've lived in the area for a long time. I used to work next door, so it's really easy to make that transition.
An easy transition and an excellent place to work. Sounds like a wonderful place with a lot of variety. You can absolutely find everything you like. Your taste doesn't matter. You can find it here at the comic shop. And that's me signing off.
The Geek Speak Video Show pilot in the can. So thanks again to Joe Field and the fabulous staff at Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff. 2980 Treaty Boulevard here in Concord, California. Flying Colors Comics, the website. They're on the social networks, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Just look for them and they'll be right there. So where should we go next time? It'll be a monthly thing, so you let us know. Video show at thegeekspeakshow.com. Video show at thegeekspeakshow.com. Let me know, hey, go to my shop because this, that, and the next one will be right there.